Blog Talk Radio.
The funeral is about to begin, sir.
The calling hours.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Hello, everyone out there in the world. You are on for another episode of The Calling Hours on Horror Society Radio. This is your host, the Dead Man, Michael Jones, and tonight we are going to have a very special episode of The Calling Hours. This evening, to celebrate Women in Horror Month, we are going to have on Women in Horror Ambassador Rebekah Herzberg. She is also going to be bringing some friends with her. So throughout the evening, we are going to have on the Soska Twins. That's right. You heard it. The Soska Twins. Katt Shea, Kristina Klebe, Heidi Martinuzzi, Neurotica, and Bj Colangelo. So we're going to have a lot of topics to discuss with all of these brilliant people in the horror genre. And you know, I really want everyone who listens to the show tonight to listen to what they're saying. I think their cause is right. I believe in a lot of what I've read. Heidi and I go back a couple of years. I did a small interview with her and was almost in a movie with her, so that'll be fun. And I've had Rebekah on before as well, and I really enjoy her blog as well. So she'll be joining me about 7:15. So what we're going to do this evening is we're going to skip news, and we're going to go directly into our Scream Factory DVD Blu-ray review of Witchboard. It's called a Ouija board, and it's been used for thousands of years to communicate with the souls of the afterworld. For beautiful Linda Brewster, played by the ever-lovely Tawny Kitaen, it brings the playful ghost of a dead 10-year-old boy. But when the friendly spirit develops a sudden taste for violent murder and demonic possession, Linda's boyfriend, played by Todd Allen, and her former lover, played by Stephen Nichols, must race to destroy the ferocious portal of the damned. Here we go again. Another great movie from my childhood. I think Kevin did a fantastic job. Kevin Tenney did a great job directing the film. Scream Factory has done an amazing job with this DVD, Blu-ray DVD release. You have a brand new audio commentary with writer-director Kevin Tenney and actors Stephen Nichols, Kathleen Wilhoit, and James Quinn. There's another audio commentary with writer-director Kevin Tenney, executive producer Walter Jostin, and producer Jeff Ray. There's new interviews with Kevin Tenney, Tawny Kitaen, J.P. Lubinson, James Quinn, Walter Jolston, Todd Allen, and more. I mean, we'll get to the special features, more of the special features in a second. You have the vintage making of Witchboard. There's theatrical trailers. Just an absolutely stunning piece of work put together by Scream Factory. As far as releases go for their DVDs, this one is certainly at the top, and I'm trying to, hopefully Kevin will be my guest next week if he's out there listening, wink, wink. I'll have the reviews of both Night of the Demons and Scream and Witchboard up. It's been a little crazy over at Horror Society, getting the radio station and everything set up, but more of the writing schedule will be in next week. But once again, I think Scream Factory has done a fantastic job putting together the whole package. The movie looks fantastic. And again, like I said, the special features and the time and the effort that went into putting them together are extremely exceptional. I love the new interviews. I mean, hell, you almost had an hour's worth of interview time with the new interviews. And it's interesting to hear, they had a lot of fun on set when you listen to the behind the scenes. Lots of joking and practical jokes and things along that nature was going on. And it seemed like they all really loved the experience. And it was really interesting listening to Kevin talk about going to USC and what it was like going through the film school and how it was equivalated to going through boot camp, which I find interesting because I've been through boot camp and it's not fun. But as working in the film industry too, I could definitely see how that kind of training would help. You have your theatrical trailers, you have the stills gallery. I know a good buddy of mine and fellow Horror Society Radio podcast co-host, Chris McGibbon, had a lot to do with that. So when you listen in to Creepshow Radio on Thursday, if you get a chance to call in, make sure to call in and ask Chris about his experience with the pictures and stuff for this. But as far as is it a DVD worth getting, it most certainly is. I mean, whether you want the Blu-ray or the DVD, it comes in the combo pack. It's definitely a film that should be added to your collection. Like I said, seeing a young Tawny Kitaen in it was just amazing. And to hear, like I said, how much reverence all of them have for the movie. Her meeting her love interest and co-star of the movie basically 5 minutes before cameras rolled. You really got to see some cool scenes. There's not a lot of and for fans of the movie that know this, there's not a ton of blood and gore. There's a decent amount. This is one of those films that I would definitely say relied more on its atmosphere and the attention to detail to the characters, which was something, either you got it or you didn't in the 80s, and we don't get it quite as much today, but it's really great storytelling with great acting. It's certainly worth picking up. Anyone who is not familiar, with Kevin's work, this is definitely one that you should check out. So make sure to head on over to our friends at Scream Factory, at Scream Shout Factory. Head over to shoutfactory.com, type it into their search engine, and pick it up from there. You should be able to pick it up at most of your local retailers as well as other avenues online, such as Amazon and the like. So that was really nice. I want to say thank you to Tom Chen for sending that out for us. And again, even though it's taken us a little while because of the transition into the new year, the written reviews will be up on horrorsociety.com coming up shortly. In a few minutes, we are going to be joined by our first guest and co-host of the evening, Women in Horror Ambassador Rebekah Herzberg. We're going to talk to her for a few minutes about what she does, some of her blog writing, acting, what her role is at Women in Horror. After that, we're going to be joined throughout the evening by the Soska Twins, Katt Shea, Kristina Klebe, Heidi Martinuzzi, Hannah Neurotica, and Bj Colangelo. But to keep in pace with everything else, we are still going to have our Metal Blade Spotlight for the evening. And this album actually hit stores today. You can go to Best Buy, you can go to iTunes, you can get it from metalblade.com. But one of my favorite bands off of Metal Blade's impressive list of artists, other than Cannibal Corpse, I would say Behemoth is right there at the top. And their brand new album, The Satanist, Streets Today. So because the interview is going to run a little long tonight, we're going to play our first song in the Metal Blade Spotlight for the evening. It's Behemoth off of their new album, The Satanist, and the name of the song is Blow Your Trumpets, Gabriel. And when we come back, we will be starting our interview with Rebekah Herzberg. Behemoth off of their new CD, The Satanist. The name of the song was Blow Your Trumpets, Gabriel. Once again, thank you to our friends out at Metal Blade for letting us have this spotlight time with Behemoth. Special shout-out goes to my girl out there, Kelly. Kelly's the one to make sure I get the great metal that we hear every week from Metal Blade Records. After we do our interviews this evening, probably around the last 10 to 15 minutes, we will have another song by Behemoth. A little bit of background info on the band for those of you that don't know anything about them. And if you don't, shame on you. We will also have our second band in the Metal Blade Spotlight, and we'll be hearing 2 songs from them next week as well. But coming up here in a quick minute, we are going to have Women in Horror Ambassador Rebekah Herzberg, and she's going to be bringing with her throughout the next hour and a half the Soska Twins, Katt Shea, Kristina Klebe, Heidi Martinuzzi, Hannah Neurotica, and Bj Colangelo. But it looks like that Miss Rebekah has joined us. Rebekah, is that you?
It sure is.
Hi, Rebekah. Everyone,
hi.
Hello to Rebekah Herzberg, our Women in Horror Month ambassador, actress, blogger, a little bit of everything. So, I had you come on for the last few minutes of last week's show, and we just briefly touched on, the things that you do in the industry. Please elaborate with everyone a little bit exactly what your role is as a Women in Horror Month ambassador.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm not the only ambassador. There's several, at least last year there were several. I don't know as far as this year how that's going. But, my main goal this year, I am throwing a charity event. It's on February 14th. It's right outside of Houston in Beaumont, Texas. And basically we're showing American Mary and Tiffany Heath's trailer for Spavine. Sorry, I never know how to pronounce that. I think it's Spavine.
It's okay, I trip on names sometimes too. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, and she'll be premiering her film at our film festival here in town. Actually, that I'm the director of the horror portion of this film festival called the Lagniappe Film and Music Festival, in which I'm still looking for horror entries. So you guys, you can just kind of swing on my way, But anyway, so yeah, we're throwing this event, and there's no cover charge. We just are asking people to bring as many clothes, cosmetics, food, toiletries, what have you that you're willing to give away. It can be used makeup, I guess. I don't know. It's I've done a lot of charity work here in my hometown for years, especially with the women and children shelters. And my grandmother and my mother have been known in town. They're part of the Beaumont Women's Association, so they've been donating to all these things for you. I guess I just kind of got in the habit of doing these things myself. So, but I also love horror films, so I figured, well, what better way to celebrate Women in Horror Month than to combine the two together?
Oh, I think it's a great thing. I mean, I've been a fan of your page for years, and you and I have been friends on Facebook for a while. But it's funny that our paths hadn't crossed more often. Now, one of the other things that I found interesting looking at your site, you are also part of the roller derby. Now, out here in North Carolina, roller derby's pretty big. They hold it down at the Dorton Arena right down the road here, and it's always a huge event. How did you get involved with roller derby, and tell us how you came about your name of June Cleaver?
Yeah, and it's spelled Jewin. It's because a lot of my girlfriends were doing it here in town, and they kept telling me I needed to do it, and I was always so nervous because I grew up as a ballerina, and I'm petite, so I was just like, I don't know. But I thought it would be a great way to get my frustrations out instead of, taking it out on Facebook or MySpace or what have you,
Sure.
And I really enjoyed it. It was short-lived. I enjoyed it for a while. Then I found out I was pregnant, and you can't roller derby when you're pregnant. And
no, it's probably not a good idea.
No, my son's about to be two. He's about to be 2 soon, but I don't have enough time to do everything, and I had to choose between roller derby and going back to theater, which I love, and I love doing musicals, and I just decided to do theater instead because it's, I don't want to have to, if someone breaks my nose or if I break an ankle, I don't want to have to spend all that money repairing that. And I did love roller derby. It was fun, and it was a great way to get anger out. And so I'm going to miss it. And maybe one day again, if I have time, I'll get back to it.
Well, like I said, it's really popular out here in North Carolina. So I can imagine. I know that there are leagues all over the place.
Well, it's a Texas tradition too, so it's very popular here.
Now, one of the things that you also say on your blog is that you do not consider yourself a professional blogger. But, having read some of your work and reading, the responses that people give you, it certainly seems, at least in my opinion, that you are. Why do you feel like it's not a professional blog, and what led you to the horror end of blogging?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because one of our last guests, I planned on asking her because she also has a blog, but the same as me, writes for several other websites and forums when we're not too busy, promoting our own blog. And a lot of people out there think like, oh, well, that person's just a blogger, blah, 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 blah. And they just completely disregard all this hard work we spend on all of our articles for whatever websites that we write for. And so, but honestly, like my personal blog, it started out as a more personal thing. And I deleted a lot of my old posts that I wrote several years ago. Just for me, it was it's kind of a journal. But then I decided to make something more of it because then I started to take notice that I had a lot of visitors. And I loved horror films, so I was like, okay, well, I guess I can make this a personal / hey, I love horror movies blog,
Right.
And I mostly talk about my love for VHS and retro art, stuff like that,
Now, that's an interesting take. Me, I have DVD companies, they're sending me Blu-rays and everything else that I review, but you do a lot of review on VHS. And
I do, yeah.
Now, what is it about VHS that's alluring to you? Like there's something about every era of filmmaking that we all love, but what is it about VHS, and what do you think about a lot of indie films these days that are doing special edition VHS releases?
The main reason why I love VHS, I think, is nostalgia. That's how I got into horror. I mean, I watch horror on television, obviously, but, I would just sit there and I had a mom-and-pop store down the street called K&E Movie Rental, and I would just stare there drooling in the horror section. I don't know if there's something wrong with me or what, but all that cover art just, I just fell in love, and I felt like I have to see every single horror film out there before I die. I just became obsessed. And, honestly, I still collect a lot of them because there are several films on VHS that aren't even, there's no DVD release, and maybe one day they will get a DVD release, but there's always several different chopped up versions of these films. And also some of these films look a lot better on VHS. Like, me personally, this is just my opinion, I think the original Evil Dead looks so much better on VHS than Blu-ray because on Blu-ray you see all the flaws.
Sure, I agree with that on something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of a grainy copy of that on VHS, and the viewing experience is so much more than you would have ever anticipated.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's glad I like to hear that you have, that's a uniqueness that you bring to your writing style as well. Is that you're looking at it from a perspective that most people have looked away from or walked away from. But it looks like we might have one of our first guests for the evening. So let's see who we have. Welcome to the Calling Hours Horror Podcast. This is the Dead Man and Rebekah. Who do we have calling us this
Happy
evening?
birthday, Rebekah. This is Jen and Sylvia. Yes, fuck
Hey!
How the fuck are you? Happy birthday!
It is the Soska Twins. And yes, happy birthday, Rebekah. Oh, absolutely.
I'm so glad that I didn't have to stop
you
guys for not calling.
I almost canceled just because I wanted to talk to you even more. How's Cabaret going, sweetheart?
I couldn't hear you. What'd you say?
How's Cabaret going?
It was going well. We just wrapped up last weekend, and we were all crying. We actually started the show 30 minutes late because we did our last circle prayer before the show, and we're all sitting there crying and had to go fix our makeup. And so, but it went well. We sold out of every show, and it was awesome. It was fun. I love stage and musical.
I didn't like every single time, but I was stalking those pictures hardcore. Jen and I used to be theater back in the day, and it looked like we had such like a fun group. I always feel so weird when I say that, like when I'm talking about something that I didn't like on Facebook, and it's like, oh, so you're just one of those fucking lurkers. And it's like, yeah. Sometimes we stalk, sometimes we're just like watching. I just wow.
Well, Soskas, I have to ask you. You know, you started with Dead Hooker in the Trunk.
Cute in person. Oh,
What's
sorry,
that?
that wasn't the question. I was going to say Kane is just as cute in person.
Kane is just... Well, I was going to ask you about Kane here in a second, but, you know, you guys started with Dead Hooker in a Trunk. You know, you created your own production company, Twisted Twins. You went on to do American Mary, which went off to mass appeal. You know, before we talk about See No Evil 2, you know, tell us a little bit about Dead Hooker in a Trunk, and then how you guys evolved American Mary into such a huge following and a fan favorite everywhere it was seen.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. Well, we are both proudly failed actresses. We never really liked the roles that were being written or that were being offered to us. I think as an actor, you spend so much of your time chasing roles that you don't really want just so you can be working. So we weren't really getting a lot of the roles we wanted. It was always slutty twin this, half-naked Martian that, and it got to the point that it was like, not too much. So we decided to do a shift into stunts, and we ended up going to, a long story short, this fucking joke of a film school that was absolutely awful, but we ended up making a faux trailer on our own time for Dead Hooker in a Trunk as an homage to Grindhouse, which was playing in theaters at the time. And we got the title because we wanted to have something competitive with Hobo with a Shotgun. And people asked us after we showed the trailer, oh, cool, when is the feature going to come? So like any good filmmaker, we bullshitted them and said, oh, yeah, that's the next thing we're doing. And we wrote, produced, directed it, brought in every favor we could possibly get and then some. And then we just literally talked to everybody in the world and begged them to screen it and see it. And it was really the fans, the real horror people out there, our fellow like peers that love horror as well, that really got behind the film, that launched it the way it did.
But it was a huge ignorance is bliss kind of thing. We didn't know making a movie was going to be as difficult as it was. We were just like, fuck, I just want to do something. And we actually watched Dead Hooker the other day for a tweet-along, and I was looking at it. I was like, oh, fuck, you stupid idiot. You should have done this, and you should have done that. But I think that's always the thing.
It's a learning process. It's a learning process.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
Oh, yeah, and you'll always look back. No matter what you go on to do, how many films you'll do, you'll always look back at your earlier work and go, man, what could have been? You know, I'm there with you.
Absolutely. The funny thing was, after when we were trying to sell Dead Hooker, nobody would screen it. Like on title alone, it would be denied from film festivals. And it wasn't until 2010 that the very first Women in Horror Month happened, that there were two female-centric film festivals. There was Ghouls on Films that Nia Edwards-Behe gave us our world premiere, and then there was DOA Pretty Scary Bloodbath that Andrew Rose did in Texas. So we had two screenings in that month, and then all of a sudden when people watched it, they started talking about it, and it absolutely changed our life. But still, distributors didn't touch it. And I was talking to a friend, and he suggested focusing on the next one. And again, we didn't have a script, so we bullshitted, and we ended up writing American Mary. And then we loved the script so much, we shopped it around for, I guess, a year and a half. nobody wanted it. And then on our birthday, just like Rebekah, like what your day is right now, my parents, they told me they were mortgaging the house to be the first investors in the film. And we've never had money. My parents didn't expect one daughter right away, let alone two. So they've always sacrificed so much to make it possible for us to be able to do this. And we learned. I loved that movie. I'm obsessed with body modification. I want it to be completely acceptable and for people just to, I mean, as long as you're not hurting anyone, who gives a fuck? And I'm so proud of the way that movie turned out.
Exactly.
We made it for... Oh, thank you so much.
I love American Mary. I truly do. I was not a huge fan of Dead Hooker in the Trunk. I didn't think it sucked, but I thought American Mary was. I just became obsessed with the film almost. Like it's, and that's
really?
another reason why I'm showing. Yes, and I even have a girlfriend who's listening right now. I'm going to give her a shout out, Kristina, who came with me to Texas Frame Weekend last year. She just came back on Facebook after hiatus, and she was just like, "Oh my God, I love American Mary." I was like, "Well, you should listen into the show tonight because, and it."
Kristina, if you're listening, I truly know you are. Thank you for watching American Mary. Bitch, you kick ass.
Now, when you guys
I
finally
truly
got
love
it,
American Mary. So sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. When you guys finally got it out there and it was playing at festivals and everything, and it started winning all of these awards. Were you surprised how quick the indie film fans picked it up?
I even while we were making the film and we came up a lot of brick walls, we always maintained that we were fans ourselves, and I felt that horror, particularly North American horror, has been stagnant for so long. It's been this tired formula. And I thought something original was what people were really hungry for. I hoped people would like it, but the response has even blown away our expectations.
No, it was we thought they would like it. The fact that people were so cool, that people have gotten the characters tattooed to them. Like, I'm so fucking honored. And I started as a huge Ginger Snaps fan. The fact that I got to work with my favorite actress on this, on something we wrote just for her, it just fucking blew my mind. And, I told Katie that I would Kanye anytime she didn't win, because as a nerd, I was like, you have done everything I've wanted you to do in your career in this movie. You were sexy, you were cute, you're deeply fucking disturbed, you're
vulnerable.
Yeah, I'm so happy that people saw that, because when we were making it, there's a few people there that were like, this isn't going to work. And I was like, no, the weirdos are going to love it. This is right.
Well, this weirdo loves it, and I'm very excited that y'all are coming to Texas Frightmare Weekend this year, because we are going to have a good time.
I cannot wait. I have never been to that area, and I'm so fucking stoked. I've always wanted to go to Frightmare.
Texas Frightmare Weekend, I'm sorry if anyone disagrees, but it is one of the biggest horror conventions in America, and I fucking love it. I only hosted it one year, but I try to stay active in it every year, and I've gotten to where after so many of these things that you do, I just try to enjoy my time with my friends there, and like some of these people I've known for years, but I'd love to actually meet you guys in person for a change and hang out with y'all.
Can we get beer together? Can we have moonshine together? Do they have moonshine there?
We can do whatever the fuck you want.
Horror Society's looking to get involved with a film festival sometime in the coming year. In all seriousness, we're looking to get involved in that in a couple this year. And if that's going to be the case, I need to come down to Houston and see what all the talk is about.
It's in Dallas. It's going to be in Dallas.
It's going to be in Dallas. It's going to be in Dallas.
I'm going to show you girls a good time, I promise.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
And I love every time a woman says that to me.
Now, coming off of the
you have no idea, but go ahead.
Coming off of the success of American Mary, I saw See No Evil when it came out in theaters, the original one, and I was one of the few people that absolutely loved that film. I thought Glenn Jacobs, everyone knows I'm a wrestling fan, so Kane to those of my wrestling brethren out there. I thought he played the role exactly as it should, and I always thought that the film needed a sequel, and it was dormant, and it was quiet. You didn't hear anything. Now, coming off of American Mary, who went to who about doing See No Evil 2? Did you go to WWE? Did they come to you? And
no,
you know, I'm sure you talked to Vince, right?
Oh God, I haven't talked to Vince yet, but I've been begging my boss for his number, and he's like, well, and when I say, like, sometimes I suggest doing ridiculous things for the movie because we really upped our game, and he was like, well, if you want that, you're gonna have to talk to Vince. I was like, oh my God, give me his number.
Put him on the phone now. I will happily talk to him. He's a very intimidating figure, but we are the biggest WWE fans back from when it was an F. And actually, we started watching just as the Kane storyline was brought in. The first time was I saw Undertaker, and I obviously fell instantly in love with him.
How can't you?
Oh, God, I'm dead man. And he was talking about Kane, and we were both watching when it was Bad Blood, Hell in a Cell, when he was first introduced. And you know, the funny thing about American Mary, it was a hard fucking sell when we were trying to get it out there. And after it was finished, the exact same offers were sent to us. We want to have low-budget, independent horror, medical horror, starring Catherine Isabel. And we're like, dude, what the fuck? We just made that movie. And we wanted to do something completely opposite. So when we got the script...
Yeah, we didn't even know it was going to happen. Like, we had read so many scripts, like, so many horrible things. And we're like, oh, my... And we were literally, right before we got that script, we were looking at new jobs. We're like, okay, I guess we'll find something where we can be in the warehouse in the back so it's not too embarrassing. But we're like at the end of this, and our agent calls us, and he's like, we have a script. We need you to read it right away. I'm like, oh, okay. And then he calls us, like, an hour later. He's like, have you started yet? I'm like, oh, no, we haven't even looked. And it was See No Evil 2. We're like, no fucking way. It couldn't possibly be that. And we read it, and there's this one part. I can't tell you which part it was, but Jen and I, we have our laptops together on the same desk, and we both pushed our chairs back from the table, and we were like, oh, my God, did that just happen? We're like, we're fucking doing it. We're doing it. And even then, we're like, there's no fucking way they're going to hire us. So we, the next day, we're on the phone with Michael Louisi and Richie Lowell from WWE Studios and
John Sackey of Lionsgate.
And we had an interview, and the interview was like 20 minutes where we just gushed about how much we loved the script, how we would like to do it. We just took a fan approach of everything we saw in the first movie, and we would have loved to build upon in the second one. And then at the very end, because we were convinced we weren't getting it, we're like, well, thank you so much for talking to us. And with the script that we read, I know it's going to be an awesome movie, so good luck, and I can't wait to see it. And then we just sat and we're like, oh, well, at least we had that opportunity. And Jen and I didn't tell anybody that we even had that phone call because we're like, I don't want to jinx it. And then 2 days later, we got a phone call, and they're like, yeah, you guys got hired. I'm like, fuck off! No way! The scream heard around. We have an older person's building that we live in, and they probably thought someone was murdered the way we started screaming and crying and jumping up and down. It was better than anything. Like, we were nerds in high school. We never got... I think that's what girls feel like for prom night or something. That's what a normal person accomplishment would be. Like, oh my God, the WWE is going to work with us. Ah!
Well, now let me ask you this: what was it like meeting Kane, Glenn, and what is it like having the WWE world, their promotional department behind you in this endeavor?
It was the weirdest thing ever. Like, there's a big struggle on American Mary. A friend of mine told me that when you work with somebody that you're not on the same page with, you work 5 times as hard. And because we're so weird, we thought that was going to be our career for the rest of our life. The amount of insane support we got from Michael and Richie was amazing. Like, we'd come up with something crazy, and then they'd come up with something even more expensive and crazy and be like, why don't you just do that? And I'd be like, we're allowed to do that? They're like, anything you guys want, go ahead.
As you probably noticed, we're really into the social networking and the promotion, and to be with a company that is so about branding. And, I'm all about branding. I'm all about, marking yourself. Everybody is something that they can brand themselves at. And, as nice as it is to say a great script should be recognized for being a great script, you have to fucking get your great script out there. If a beautiful tree falls in the woods, nobody's going to hear it, even if it's the most beautiful, talented tree in the world. So a few days before in prep, Glenn flies in, and Jen and I are fucking hysterical. I needed 30 seconds which our DP filmed for behind the scenes before I could walk in to see him because I needed to stop crying.
Yeah, they're like, so Mr. Jacobs is in your office, and Jen and I are like freaking out. And we have an office which we're also freaking out about. And they're like, oh, you sad little indie girl. And we pull ourselves together. And
sorry,
we
that just hit me funny.
Oh, dude, there was it was so like just calling in favors and being like, oh my God, well, it'll come out of my paycheck for American Mary. And on this one, it was just like, oh, here you go. And oh, do you guys want lunch today? I'm like, I don't pack my own lunch. I get lunch. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, I didn't fucking know. And they look at us like we're like these little film refugees. Like, and we've been so beaten and abused. We're just like surprised from it. But Jen and I were a Kane fan before we went into this, and we're now definitely a Glenn Jacobs fan. One of the sweetest, most down-to-earth, smartest men I've ever had the opportunity to work with. And the thing with them is we did a lot of things in 1 or 2 takes because we had 15 days to shoot it, but when he's on the show, he does it in 1. So this guy just always is bringing it, and it was amazing to see. And it's like, oh, that's right, because there is no cut and do it again. It's just right. Always so.
Yeah, you never had that actor bullshit moment of where they cut themselves. Like, God, actor, shut the fuck up. I'll tell you when I'm cutting. When they're like, no. I'll do better the next time. He does it all the way the first time. And, of course, we got, safeties when we could, but he is just such a talented professional, and he's so sweet. He's so nice, and he's so down to earth. And another thing I love so much about the WWE is they give back to the world so much with their Make-A-Wish Foundation and so many charities that they give to.
Yeah, it was just I think a week after Christmas, Glenn was in the hospitals, and he was seeing all the sick kids there, and that's just what they do. They're like real life superheroes, and it means so much to them. Like WWE does more charitable events and more events that give back than any other sports, all the other sports teams combined, and it's just amazing to see because that's part of what they do, and it's just that they just give a shit. It's just so refreshing and nice.
Right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. It's Katt Shea might be calling in, but no, you guys, I will see you at Texas Frightmare Weekend. We'll hang out, and everybody, please, I know y'all are doing that the blood drive also, so everyone look into Jen and Sylvia's Soska's blood drive.
Oh, thank you. It's going to be premiering on the Valentine's Day, and we've done it with 5 other amazing female filmmakers, so it's going to be a big woman celebration and blood drive.
Oh, guys, thank you so much for having us, and happy
birthday. No problem, Jen. Hey, Jen and Sylvia, anytime you guys have news for Horror Society, please let me know. And when time gets closer, if you guys would like to come back on, if we can get Glenn on too, I'd love to have you guys on the podcast again.
I would fucking love that.
Be careful what you wish for. We'll be back. And we've got some very, very big news coming as well. We're in LA, and we've just done some amazing meetings, and it's going to be a fucking amazing 2014.
Oh, guys, thank you.
Cool. So I want to have you guys on again, so we'll be in touch.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. And we have our next guest calling in this evening. Hello, guest. This is the Dead Man, and you're on with Rebekah and I.
Hi, it's Katt.
Hey, Katt.
Thank you
so much for calling.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry I didn't get to hear any of the radio show up to this point, so you're going to have to.
It's quite all right. Tomorrow evening, yes, I will send everyone the archived version of it.
Fantastic.
So I will certainly make sure that you get there.
Oh, good.
Well, it's good to talk to you again, Katt. I adore you. You're one of my, you've been an inspiration to me as long as, everybody involved with Women in Horror Month, and my favorite, just women in general behind the camera, but you've always been more inspirational to me. I don't know why. I can't explain it, but it's,
Inspiration. I love that. I feel like that's my job,
Well, I'm honored to have you on the show. I mean, you have a list of credits that most actors would be envious to have. I mean, you had a role in Scarface, in the genre, Psycho 3, Poison Ivy 2.
I don't really think I wasn't in Poison Ivy 2, but I don't even think of.
No. I know. I'm just. It's the titles, and I'm just honored to have you on. It's like. Ooh.
Thank you. I don't even think of myself as an actor, really. I mean, I was a writer director.
She's more of a director.
Yeah, but I really appreciate that. I really do. I mean. Sometimes I look back and I think, God, I can't believe I did all those acting roles. How fantastic. I know actors that haven't.
But do you feel having, earlier roles, helped you as a director later on? You could see things
absolutely.
from both sides?
Absolutely. Without question. Everything that I did really helped me as a filmmaker. Yeah, and I didn't know. I mean, in the beginning, you don't know where it's going. You're just going out and doing things and taking the jobs that come. And so it's very interesting to see all the correlations that came later. It's fascinating to me. Just the synchronicities really that happened. I mean, I worked on Scarface with Brian De Palma, and then I directed Carrie too. It's just strange. It kind of, and then he had to approve me as the director. So it was very interesting.
Well, I have to ask. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
There was also a really quirky thing about Psycho 3. My makeup artist was Mike Westmore, who did, the prosthetics when the slashing, and he ended up doing the breast prosthetics for the first movie that I ever directed called Strip to Kill, and that helped get that movie made because Mike Westmore was going to do the prosthetics, and the reason I knew him was because he was my makeup artist on Psycho 3, which I acted in. So it's just amazing the things that happen,
and Strip to Kill remains one of my favorites, and Dead Man, or whatever you want to go by right now. I don't know if you've seen Strip to Kill, but I told Katt whenever I interviewed her several months ago, she had no idea that people were actually bidding on and spending hundreds of dollars on a VHS copy of Strip to Kill.
Oh yeah,
I can't believe that. I cannot believe that.
It's weird. Yeah. I mean, Rebekah is much more the connoisseur of VHS than I am, but she's right. The market for VHS these days is and I mean, it doesn't even have to be a mint copy. You could get a beat-up copy, and people will still pay crazy money for that stuff.
Mm-hmm. I shouldn't have thrown all the VHSs in the garbage.
No, my actual copy of Strip to Kill that's in my VHS nerd big-ass closet room, as I like to call it.
I love that.
One of my fellow VHS collectors who's several years younger than me, who I like to call a hipster collector. Sorry, Dan. He tried to buy, I was about to go buy Strip to Kill. I finally found it at one of the VHS, mom-and-pop VHS places here in town, and he just so happened to be coming through town, and he tried to buy it, and it was one of the films on my list that I was about to come and get, and the girl that was working there, a friend of mine, she was like, nope, sorry, that's on Rebekah's list, you can't buy that. He offered to pay $300 for that fucking tape, Strip to Kill.
Oh my God, I love that.
$300 fucking dollars. He spent a lot, he spent hundreds of dollars in that store, and he did end up swiping some of my favorite tapes. I'm guessing only because he paid even more for some, and I'm so mad.
I'll sell him the 35 millimeter print for $20,000.
There you go.
No, you know what? If you post that in the horror VHS collectors group, someone will respond and probably, at least bid on it. Some of these guys are weird. Some of these guys spend up to $600 on a tape, and some of these movies aren't really that good too. But I love Strip to Kill. I love what it stands for. I love that the dancers in it are more so professional dancers. They don't just grind up on a pole, and I know we've talked about that before. But, I just wanted to point that out again, how much I love Strip to Kill. But
yeah, they were amazing.
One thing I didn't ask you about whenever I interviewed you before, and I'm sure you get asked all the time, and you're probably tired of talking about it, but is when you directed Poison Ivy with Drew Barrymore being so young.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of feedback did you get for that? Or are you tired of talking about that?
No, I mean, it was pretty controversial. It certainly was. It was me. I was more nervous about Drew. I mean, I was trying to protect her. I was really trying to protect her while we were shooting, and she was like, no, I want to do it. I want to do it. She's like so mature. And it was ridiculous. And I'm trying to protect her, and she wouldn't let me, you know. So she was doing things that I really didn't want her doing. So
that's an actor for you.
You know. Yeah, there you go.
Well, if it helps, I thought she was perfect for the role, and
she was
definitely.
She was incredible.
Well, let me ask you about the Rage Carrie 2.
Mm-hmm.
How was it to pick up the reins of one of Stephen King's greatest books, and one of the films that was really done right out of his canon? The early movies seem to be the better ones than the more recent ones, but I enjoyed the Rage Carrie 2. So, did you feel any pressure following up, such a great movie?
Yeah,
please.
The pressure on that was so intense because, it was pressure from not only that, but there was another director on it who got fired off of it, and I had to come in 2 weeks into shooting and take over. So it was pressure from every possible angle. I mean, I thought, oh, my God, I'm doing Carrie 2. They're going to crucify me, first of all. And then I have to come in and, just throw out everything that's been shot, reshoot it, but I don't get any extra time. So they're going to keep the whole film on schedule. And I came in on a Thursday. I believe I flew in on Thursday, and I was shooting on Monday. And I was reshooting the entire movie. And, that is a big challenge. But, I was so used to working in the low-budget world where, things are so much pressure anyway. And that wasn't really the biggest issue for me. The actors were, though, because, they were really loyal to that first director, and they felt like I was the studio person, if you can believe that, coming in. Me, the studio person, which is really hilarious. But, it all worked out. But, yeah, high pressure from every angle. It was high pressure. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things you do, and you just go, okay, well, let's do or die here. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens to the rest of it.
After that, you followed it up with a couple of TV movies. You did Secret in 2000, and then you did Sanctuary in 2001.
Right.
Did you?
Yeah.
How did you feel
movie, actually?
How did you feel transitioning? How did you feel transitioning from something that was so pressure-packed like Carrie 2, for theater, and then doing something for TV? Was it a more relaxed environment for you?
Not really. It's all, when you're directing, and I'm a writer-director, so it's kind of double the pressure, because if the writing's not working, it's my fault. And if the directing's not working, it's also my fault. So, but it works the other way too. If everything's working, you get all the accolades too, even if it's not because of you. So that's good. The good part. No, but it is always a lot of pressure. It's always a lot of pressure because time is always of the essence, and time is money, and there's a lot of people working. There's just so much riding on the success of the thing. And those were both Sweeps Week movies. Sweeps Week, am I saying that right? For the networks. They were both big network movies that were going to be presented, at a time when ratings really, really matter. And so, that's always a big deal. There's always a lot of pressure, no matter what, whether it's a movie studio or a TV network.
So now what do we have?
You can't really focus on that stuff. You got to just go have fun and create at the highest level you can. You know.
Well, definitely. You got to have fun working in film, or else there's no point in it. There's got to be a certain joy to what you do.
Absolutely.
Well, let me ask, how did you become involved with Women in Horror Month, and what do you think about what they help to promote?
Oh, well, it's completely because of Rebekah and
Aww.
Oh, absolutely. And I just support you guys 100%. I think it's phenomenal, and I think it's such a natural place, honestly, for women to be. I really do. It's like there's some part of us that needs to really express in a very graphic way, and what better way? You know, the thing about horror is I'm actually not. I'm not into violence particularly, or in any kind of thing like that. The thing I love about horror is that it's so visual. I mean, you know, with drama, with comedy, I mean, you shoot it, and the acting is very important. Certainly the way you shoot it is important. But with horror, you can be so artistic. You can turn the camera upside down to convey whatever it is you want to convey.
Exactly.
And it's not out of place. You know, you can switch from color to black and white. You can tilt. You can move. You can do just crazy stuff that really works, that helps to tell the story. And that is why I love shooting horror. It is the most visual of all the movie arts, I believe. So.
And you know what, Katt Shea, you definitely capture that in Strip to Kill, whether people see it or not. I'm sure people who are blind will see it as, oh, this is a stripper, stupid-ass cop thing, you know. But
yeah,
I definitely
for the wrong reason. But it is coming out in Blu-ray. It's coming out in Blu-ray in the next few months.
Great.
And
but
I
definitely
commentary.
I look at a lot of those scenes, and I really do think that you're one of a kind, and I loved your work on that film. I do love the dancers in the film. I think everything, you know, came full circle, and it was it's one of my favorites.
Oh,
I don't have words to put it in just a few sentences. It's one of my favorites.
Thank you so much. And you know, it means so much that a movie that I made so long ago, still. And
it was your first too.
Yeah, it was my first. It was the first piece of film I ever shot was on really Strip to Kill. But it means so much that, you know, nearly 30 years later, I don't know if it's really been that long, but, you know, a long time later, that it still resonates for people is incredible. Absolutely. It's
it does.
Gift,
like,
and I am
just
so
remember
grateful.
that. A lot of people are bidding a lot of money for that film just on VHS.
Oh my God.
Don't throw any more of those VHSs out. Let me ask you.
Really, I'm saving those VHSs now. Oh, my God.
Since you've worn so many hats in the industry, which one do you find to be the most challenging? And on the inverse, you know, which one do you prefer the most? Like, do you prefer writing to directing to producing? You know.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I love writing. I'm writing a novel now, and I am so grateful. I mean, Writer's House is handling it, is representing it, and so it's really a big thing for me. It's the first novel I ever wrote, and it's a trilogy. I just finished book 1, and so this is a really big deal. And, you know, I love writing. I love directing, too, though. When I'm directing, I just love it. I'm like a duck in water. It just feels so natural. But, you know, it's all really challenging. It's really challenging. So, and then acting is, too. I mean, I think acting is, like, unbelievably challenging. So, it's just...
Yeah, the few times I've acted, I just try to be the guy that gets killed really quick so I don't have to be on camera anymore. No, I'd rather deal with the effects end of it.
Yeah. I mostly just deal with musicals.
Oh, yeah. No, the thing is, I mean, it's so writing is so mentally challenging. I mean, it just challenges you to, you know, it just expands your brain. It just, you need your right and left brain really working well together. It is.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, because you need the plot, and then you need the creativity and the characters. I mean, really, it's such a big left-right brain activity, and it really is incredibly challenging. But directing is like that too. But directing is you're thinking on your feet, and your choices really, when you're on the set doing it, you're thinking at the speed of how would that be phrased? You're shooting at the speed of thought. I think Robert Rodriguez said that, and you're shooting at the speed of thought. And so what you are doing is set in stone, you know what I mean, in the moment. So that is something that, you can't go back and rewrite. You shoot it,
right.
You shot it, that's what you've got to work with. So that really is a test of how good you are.
Well, see, and that gives, that's a different perspective on filming. A lot of people in the industry that are critics or, do podcasts have never been on a set and don't realize, before I've ever worked on a film, I would sit there and say things like, oh, well, this director sucks. They should never make another film. First time I got on set and saw how it was done and actually, tried to look at it through the director's guys, you'll never hear me make that statement again. You're right. People have no idea what it's like to have to visualize it while it's happening and, hope there's no hiccups or mistakes. Mm-hmm. It is. It's an incredible art to have.
Yeah, no, directing is an amazing thing. It really is, and I love that quote from Robert Rodriguez, and I hope I got it right, but I believe he said, you are shooting at the speed of thought.
That's the only way to put it. That's the
magic of it, and that's the genius of it. I mean, that is the genius of it.
Now, what about upcoming projects? Do you have, other than the book that you're writing, do you have anything else coming up that you want to tell everyone about or that you can't tell anyone about?
Well, the book is really kind of the thing. I mean, it's really twisted and dark, and I'm sure it's a movie. So it started as a movie and became a novel and became a trilogy. So I suspect that's going to happen as well.
Now you said that Strip to Kill was going to be released on Blu-ray. Do you know what company is going to be putting that out?
It's Walt Olson who is doing it. So, but I don't know the name of his company. So,
what about Strip to Kill 2?
That I don't know about that coming out in Blu-ray. But that
would be a great double disc set.
I actually bought Strip to Kill 2 for $5 at a VHS swap meet.
You mean it's not going for $300? What's wrong?
Well, the first ones are much lesser quality too.
I do love Strip to Kill 2. Also, I forgot the lead actress's name, and I'm hating myself right now for it because she's also in Summer Party Massacre 3.
Right, Maria Ford.
Yes.
She's a doll.
Yeah, she is. I adore her.
Yeah. Yeah. So, darn, I probably have a VHS of that if it's only going for $5.
Well, it's that's what that person demanded at the swamp meet. Someone actually lifted it up and showed it to one of his other friends in a VHS group while we were there at the swamp meet, and he goes, "Hey, $5." I was like, "I'll take it."
Oh, then
I told you before, I was like, well, they had one at the video store too, but they couldn't find the tape back there. And I was just like, really? I was so excited to do like a double feature. But, so it seemed like almost just like fate. I went to this VHS swap meet with my nerd friends, and they're just like, yeah, hell, any of you, if you want to buy this for $5, and someone was about to like do more, but I was just like, fuck that, I'll take it for $5.
Well, I'm glad you got it.
Thank
one
you.
of the other things, one of the other things I had wanted to ask you about, Scream Factory had recently sent me Psycho 2 and 3 on Blu-ray to review. And, of course, you had your role in Psycho 3. But the question I want to ask you about Psycho 3 is, you know, for the younger generation of horror movie fans who, you know, never got to see Anthony Perkins do anything, you know, during his time, you know, what was it like working with him, and how do you feel like he did as a director on that film?
Yeah, you know, working with him, it was very intense for him. It's so hard to be acting in a film and directing it. So there was a lot. He was really stressed out, and I was kind of like his comic relief for some reason, you know, because I just joke around with him, and you know, he threw me out the window, he threw me in an ice chest, he dragged me around dead the whole time. So, you know, for some reason I was a big stress release for him. I could tell that. And he told me, too. He said, you know, it's something so fun when you're on the set because I just relax and I don't worry about anything. So, but you could see that he was just, you know, incredibly stressed out. He was really directing the movie. It wasn't like the DP was doing it. He was doing it.
Right.
So it was a big deal. You know, it's hard. And, you know, it's hard. Directing and acting is, you know, I mean, you don't sleep. You just work all the way through. And
now, how was it? Was there ever any problem? Because, you know, you think about his character, Norman Bates, as one of the all-time iconic characters of the genre. You know, how hard was it sometimes, you know, from him being director to having to switch into character? You know, can you talk? With that particular character, I think he's so, you know, he knows that character through and through. So I don't think that was hard. It's just a matter of the juggling between the two and trying to be focused and concentrate and all that kind of stuff. So thank God, you know, he knew the character really well. You know, that was never an issue. But just the matter of trying to focus on being in front of the camera and directing the person that you're acting with, and telling the DP where to put the camera and the lighting and everything else, the million other details that you're doing, it is just ridiculously difficult. And, you know, with the time pressure, time is always a huge pressure when you are making a movie. Oh, yeah.
You know, there's just no question about it. It's expensive. There's 50 people waiting for you to tell them what to do. And so it's massive. You know?
Well, now let me ask you this. You certainly stamped your name with, you know, when you did Strip to Kill. I mean, you have directed one of the genre films that people will always remember, and then you acted in one of the most iconic horror series of all time with Psycho 3. You know, how does it feel to be part of a history that's not going to be forgotten? I mean, those are both
you're making me feel really good.
But I mean, it's the truth.
Thank you.
I
mean, I don't know how it feels because you just told me that. It feels really, really good is how it feels. You know? What can I say? Thank you.
I mean, certainly. I mean, you know, when Scream Factory sent me the Blu-rays, and, you know, and I watched the behind the scenes, and I was like, man, if I ever have the chance one day to talk to Katt Shea, and lo and behold, here you are. You know, it just, you know, I can't imagine. You know, I've worked on films, but nothing anywhere near that magnitude. And I wondered, you know, just what it's like to be a part of a series that iconically will always be remembered by fans. Like, if you go to conventions, like if you do the convention circuits, how are the fans at things like these?
You know, I have not been at a convention, and I should probably do that.
I mean, you'd be surprised how much Strip to Kill VHSs you'd be signing. I think a lot of people would show up for that.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna
there
have
you go, Rebecca. There you go, Rebecca. Get something hooked up.
Yeah, I've been asked to do conventions and I haven't done it, but now maybe I will. Now that
hello,
you put it
you should come to Texas Frightmare Weekend. Hello.
Yeah, now that you put it
that would be a good one. have the Soska. We could just get the whole radio show there.
I love that.
You could charge like $50 an autograph, which most people think. I think it's ridiculous, but a lot of people will buy them. And that's why I know, like, it used to start out like $15 an autograph, and now it's like $50 an autograph for people. And it's just like, oh my God, you guys really fucking starving.
I can supplement my income.
The convention circuit's where it's at.
There are a lot of people that would be willing to, have your autograph on their wall.
Oh, I love that.
Well, since you had mentioned the book, when are you looking at it?
We got a call.
When are you looking at that's fine.
I'm sorry, say it again?
I was going to say, you had mentioned the book earlier. Do you have a release date for the book, and are you planning on doing a tour to accompany it?
No, there's not a release date for it, but I'll let you know when there is. And, yes, I will do a book tour.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, I look forward to that.
Yeah. So what are your current thoughts on the horror genre, just in general these days? Do you like what Hollywood's putting out, or are you seeing more things you like from the independent scene?
No, I always like the independents better. The big budget movies just, it's all about effects. I'm sorry, I'm in a loud place now. It's all
okay.
about effects, and I like story. I'm old school that way. I like story. Something you can sink your teeth into,
Certainly.
It's kind of, But there's some good stuff being made too. So.
They are.
Are you involved currently with any charity work?
Am I with any charity? No, but why? What did you have in mind?
Oh, well, no, I was just asking in general. So far, everyone that's a guest so far works with a charity of some kind. So I definitely wanted, if you have a charity that you work with, to definitely talk about it.
No, I'm not that charitable, I guess, but no, I just keep dollar bills on my dashboard for anybody who needs them. But that's kind of it. So oh boy, no.
That's too funny.
Sorry. Oh well. I gotta find one now. No, I gotta find one.
Well, I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. Sorry.
Yeah, you did a good job of it, though. No, I'm kidding. It's all fine. Because it's really fun. I love you guys, and I thank you so much for making me feel so good.
No, I love you for calling in on my birthday.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Well, I mean, certainly, anytime you have any news, if there's a press release about the book, if you're going to do another film, send it over to me at Horror Society, and I'll make sure that it gets up. And if you're ever up to it, I would love to have you on the show one day as a full-time guest to talk about your career some more.
Sure, absolutely. And if you guys would like to post this on my Facebook or wherever, I will get it out to. I also have people that send stuff out and put it all over the place, so we'll kind of get that out there.
I'll make sure that you'll have it by tomorrow evening. That's absolutely not a problem.
Well,
thank you, Katt, for coming on.
Oh, you are.
I enjoyed talking to you again.
Yeah, thank you. Anytime.
Well, good luck with the book.
We can get more in depth with it too.
Definitely. Well, thank you for coming on. You're always welcome at Horror Society.
Oh, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Okay.
Anytime. Bye-bye.
Bye, you guys.
Bye, Katt. I love you.
Once again, that was Katt Shea, our second guest of the evening. Well, Rebekah, I have to admit, as a Women in Horror Ambassador, you have certainly brought the guests this evening. It was an honor talking to Katt. It was definitely an honor talking to the Soska Twins and everything that they have going on. Mm-hmm. But while we are waiting for our next guest to call in, if you are okay with it, I'm going to play the second song in our Metal Blade Spotlight. Can you hold on for
go ahead.
About 3 minutes?
Go ahead.
Okay, it's headbanging metal, so it's quite all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. In about 3 minutes, we'll be back. Our second song in our Metal Blade Spotlight for the evening, once again, comes from Behemoth. Their new album, The Satanist, dropped today. You can get it at Best Buy. You can get it at Metal Blade, and you can get it on iTunes. So, our song is Furor Divinus from The Satanist, Behemoth's new track. Off of their latest CD, The Satanist. The name of the track was Furor Divinus. Once again, we want to send our thanks out to Metal Blade Records, in particular my rep out there, Kelly, for sending that along. A little bit of quick info on Behemoth. We have Nergal on vocals and guitars, Inferno on the drums, Orion on bass, and Seth on guitars. The band has been together for 23 years with 10 albums to their credit. To quote them from the Metal Blade website, "The Satanist is magic. It's dangerous, it's adventurous, and it's organic. The driving force, states Nergal, the driving force behind Behemoth since their inception back in 1991. You know, These guys had to stop for a while as one of the band members had caught leukemia when they released their previous album and had to cancel their tour. So once he regained his health and went back out on tour to give the fans back to those that missed, they came out with the new album. I will have a full write-up on this on HorrorSociety.com coming up here in the next couple of days. But I would definitely recommend running out and getting this if you are a fan of black metal. This is what we have been waiting for a long time. Sorry, Rebecca. I know everyone's not quite into that style of music, but Metal Blade's been good to the show.
I'm into all kinds of music. I like metal too, but mine's mostly old school metal, like Iron Maiden. So.
I don't know, and nothing wrong with that. We might get some Iced Earth and some Maiden on here one day, so hopefully that'll happen. If I'm lucky, I've talked to Metal Blade recently. I might be able to get Cannibal Corpse on the show, and I'm talking to Danny Filth of Cradle of Filth to come on as a guest as well. So
awesome.
I think those will be pretty cool. Oh, yeah. Well,
do
while
we
we're
have
waiting
any
for
guests coming on?
No one has called in yet. So
okay.
I was going to
I think they're coming on. Sorry, we'll be in a second. But no, earlier I told everybody that I would announce the title of the film that I've been working on with my brother.
Please.
And someone who's very awesome, who I will not mention at this time. I'm not going to say what the film is about. I've already announced the cast members, a few of them at least, but the film is called Haunkill.
Mm-hmm.
Haunkill.
Yes.
And, it stars Larry Carroll, and Grace Powell will be in it. There are a few, Houston actors that are in the film, and I know a lot of people think, oh, great, she's using her friends from Houston, but actually they are very, very talented people, and I'm actually bringing some people from Cabaret to play some of the smaller roles there, because, like I said earlier, people have no idea, stage actors, their acting abilities are so far beyond, anyone you see in horror films. I'm sorry, not pointing any fingers, no disrespect towards anybody, but stage actors, acting on a stage is a lot different. It's a completely different world from just being in a horror film and screaming and dying, And so it's after working on Cabaret, especially working with some of these cast members, I was just so moved. I was like, God damn it, some of you have to have a role in this. And so
well, now with the
I'm
obvious
really
play on the obvious play on the title, Haunkill, I'm assuming you're referring to Hanukkah, correct?
Maybe.
Well, if you are, the reason I say that is you think to holiday-themed horror films, and it's funny, I was talking with a friend a couple of weeks ago, and Hanukkah was a holiday that we came up with that we could not think of any kind of horror film being centralized upon.
There isn't. There is no single film, and so this will be hopefully the first one and let someone else, I'm hoping to take my time with it. There are a lot of people out there that are so quick to just let's make this quick shitty movie and let's go ahead and make an IMDb page for it. And IMDb, is anybody can make a shitty movie and put your name on there.
Yes.
Whenever I did a panel with Michael Madsen, he's like, all these people on here are putting me in their film on IMDb because I said I'll think about it, and he's like, I have no idea. It's like half of these films that are listed, these people aren't really in, and then people start these things and never even finish the project.
Well, it's not only that.
I'd rather actually get the project going, and instead of just promoting it.
Well, part of it is too, though.
So little about it.
They do that because Michael Madsen's name draws hits to their page. That's why people do stuff like that. I mean, it's I could sit here and I've never directed a movie, but if I said, hey, Michael Madsen's going to be in my movie, I'll probably get a couple 100,000 hits just because his name's attached. It's a dirty tactic, but. Well, now you've mentioned this several times as well. Tell us a little bit about your cabaret.
Cabaret was awesome. It's, I've been in theater since I was little. Theater, dance, ballet, modeling, all that stuff I've been involved with my entire life. And of all the plays that I've been involved in, Cabaret was probably my favorite. I've starred in plays before, and I didn't think they were that great. But this one, I think it's not just because it's my most recent. It is my favorite because our hometown is a little bit hoity-toity.
Uh-huh.
They're all very judgmental. There's a lot of oil money here. And so it was the most exploitive, just provocative play that we've done here. We're nearly naked on stage, and the topic is abortion and Nazis, and Jews, and which to me hits home.
Sure.
And so it meant a lot to me to be in it, and it just my good friend Grace Mathis, who I fucking adore and love. She played the lead Sally so well because she has a British accent down, and she could hit those notes, and it was a moving experience. Like, the dancing was hard, but the acting along with that, people have no idea how hard it is to act, dance, and sing on stage at the same time. You can be in a, horror film and scream, pour blood on you all you want. And I received a little bit of negative feedback from some person who doesn't like me, not naming names, but, it's...
Right,
but
I know.
It is a challenge. People, stage acting is a lot different from that. There's a lot more talent and hard work that goes into that, and I don't think people realize that. And that's why I also wanted to bring some of these actors into the film my brother and I are working on. And my brother, I know everyone's probably going to frown upon that too, like, oh, she's working with her brother. But my brother actually, he went to film school, and our parents have their own studio where they film all their stuff, and my brother edits it, and, so I'm learning a lot from him.
Now, let me ask you this.
I'm very happy to have him working with.
Since you have both stage experience and you've worked in film previously, do you feel like the blocking of shots will be different? Because, stage blocking is very different from film blocking. Like
not
hitting
really.
marks.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that last part. What?
Like hitting marks. Like on stage, you have a little bit more allowance for, like, if you have to make a jump step or a dance step, you kind of have a give a couple of inches or two. Whereas with film, a lot of times you have to hit mark on mark because of the way camera's set up.
No, not really, because when we do it on stage, it's live. Whereas on film, we have the ability to do it over and over, take by take. Whereas when we go on stage, it's live, and there's no,
We had our next guest, and the call just dropped.
Oh.
I don't know.
That might have been Heidi.
Well, if that was Heidi and you're listening, please call back. If it was any of the guests and you were calling in, please call back. I had just hit the button to bring them on, and it dropped off. Okay. Well, while we're waiting for them to call back, I had mentioned that you've been in film previously. Would you like to tell everyone a little bit about the films that you had worked on previously?
Well, I did a lot of, at the beginning, I did a lot of student films for friends of mine, and along with theater, but, the films that I worked on previously, I don't really want to talk about them.
Okay, we don't have to. Now, you also do, you've been known to show up on a couple of other podcasts. Would you like to talk about some of the other podcast work you've done?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. No, it's
okay.
Sorry.
I'm
here.
Okay. What would you like to say about some of your previous podcast work?
Which ones? The Gash?
You got on your site you had listed the Horror Flying blog with John Ginder and Charred Remains with Char Harden.
Oh, yeah, no, with Char, just every once in a while popped up on her podcast or whatever. But no, yeah, several years ago, whenever I was writing I had my own column for horrornews.net, and I was working with Day Green, and we thought it would be cool to have an all-girl podcast. And as Kevin Tinney would call it, The View with PMS. That's what he called it. And it was just, it was me, Day Green, and Stacey Pippi Hammond, I think it's how it's pronounced. Sorry, Stacey, if you're listening. I doubt you are, but sorry. And Michelle Fatel. And so, yeah, we had, it was a great show. You know, like we had several sex talks and just, you know, obscene. Now that I go back and actually listen to some of it, I think about how immature I sound and how much I've grown from it. So, but Hannah just sent me a message saying she could not call in tonight because she's having problems with her phone, and she's actually the creator of Women in Horror Month.
Okay.
And she came on to the Gash 5 years ago to announce that she's doing Women in Horror Month. And at first I was just kind of reluctant, you know. And I was just like, do we really, you know, but I've come to love these women, and, you know, so.
Well,
but
let's talk
Hannah,
about... Let's talk about that end of it, you know, with everything that you guys do with women in horror and getting everything. Oh, actually, looks like we have one of our guests calling in. Let us see who we have.
It might be
This
Klebe.
is the Dead Man?
It's me. It's Klebe.
Klebe.
Hello, Kristina.
Yeah, hey. Yeah,
How you doing?
My close friends call me Klebe, but you know, when we get to know each other, you can call me Klebe.
Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah,
Most
I appreciate
definitely.
it. Thank you for calling in. Klebe actually, Kristina Klebe. She actually sent in a lot of, sorry, that's my son talking. She sent in links for earlier. Everybody needs to check out her, Klebe, why don't you explain?
Well, which one? The short film I directed is not an open link yet. It's going to be actually airing on FearNet starting in March.
Nice.
They got kind of like exclusive rights to it for the next 3 years on all their platforms. So that's called As Human as Animal, and that is with stars Diamond Dallas Page, and he's amazing in it. I feel like so lucky that he let me direct him. And then the other one you can look up, that's actually just a commercial I recently directed. It's is that the one you're talking about? The underwater thing?
Yes, and I loved it.
It's that you can look up. It's under a YouTube channel called Henley Vape, Henley Vape, VAVPE, as in, you know, like vaping, and it's called Fresh Air. And it was kind of like my baby. I was like, well, I'll do all these vaping videos for you guys, but I really want to do this underwater one. So, yeah. So that's that. How are you guys
I enjoyed
doing?
it. I'm enjoying my birthday, but no, I'm so excited that you came on. I did enjoy your short film. I don't know what I can say about it. As Human as Animal, right? That's what it's called?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it, and I don't want to spoil it anything, but what the fuck is what I thought. Pardon my language. Sorry, but what the fuck is what I thought afterwards, and I immediately wanted to message you afterwards to, you know, get an explanation, but great job.
Well,
holy crap. I just responded with wow, because I don't know what else to say. Wow.
Thank you so much. Yeah, well, you know, honestly, I guess people will be able to see it, you know, soon. And it's not, you know, it was kind of like another one of like my babies. Like I just was like, I want to have I want people to leave with a feeling. And probably because I'm, you know, coming from an acting background, I'm a very emotional and visceral person, so I think when I direct, I'm very much into, like, the feeling I want people to leave with. So,
right.
Sometimes it might not make sense, but as long as I, left you thinking, well, I'd like to see more, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
But
well, I'm happy you're into it so much. I'm really excited for you. I know a lot of people kept messaging me, like, that was a chick from Rob Zombie's Halloween. That seems like everyone wants to remember you for that role, but I was just like, no, she's involved with so much more.
Yeah, well, thanks.
And I just wanted to ask
you for that.
We were definitely going to talk
ahead.
about your more current work, but I did want to ask you one thing about Halloween. I recently had Tyler Mane and his wife on my show when they were promoting their film Compound Fracture. Yeah. And, one of the question I had asked them about was working with Rob Zombie. What was it like working with Rob on that film? And what I wanted to ask you was, not from the fanboy perspective, but, how did you enjoy your experiences on that set? And, what was it like working with Rob and with Tyler?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's funny because I'm friends with Tyler and his wife now, and I love them. And so it's weird to me to even think about those days when I didn't know him and, was being carried naked down a hallway by him. But I have to say he was always a gentleman. That's, I remember I wasn't supposed to say that back in the day because it ruined his image as Michael Myers, but he is a gentleman and just clearly a huge dude who did an incredible job as Michael Myers. But he's great and Rob is, what more can I say about Rob that nobody has said before? It's like, he's just he's a great person to work with because he knows exactly what he wants. People respect him. You listen to what he says, and he knows what he wants. But he also gives you the room as an actor to improvise and to bring your own interpretation and story. And in my case, in some of those scenes, I created a lot of dialogue. So, I was wondering why I didn't get credited with a writing credit, but other than that, no, I love Rob. He's great. And, so.
Well, Klebe, Tarani just tried to send me a text saying, ask her about Polly, and that's the end of it. I cannot see it on my phone.
Ask about Polly?
It's sorry, Tarani. That's all I could read. Ask about Polly.
Tarani, get in touch with us. We can't figure it out. What is he trying to say?
Sorry, John. That's all I could read. I'm on my phone.
Polly. Polly.
Could they be asking about Police State? That's a film you're currently working on.
Maybe that's what it was. It's like I was reading it from my phone, and I'm on my phone right now, and it was just coming through. So
well, since we brought it up,
sure.
You're filming Police State now. Is there anything you can tell us about
Proxy.
Police State?
He says Proxy.
Proxy is what he wants to know. Well, Police
Proxy.
State is actually,
my bad.
Police State is my friend's movie, actually, Kevin Arboy. He's a great friend and a wonderful director. But I play a really small part in that, and it's not, I've already finished my part on that. Proxy is amazing. It's coming out theatrically. IFC picked it up. It was premiered in Toronto at TIFF, and got picked up by IFC. It's coming out in April in 5 cities, New York, LA, and I'm not sure, maybe Austin. I'm pretty sure somewhere in Texas, and then I don't know where the other 2 are. I can't wait for you guys to see my part in that. It'll probably be as memorable as my Halloween's Linda, if not more. It's pretty crazy. And I'll just tell you, there's a scene with me and a plastic bag over my head, and nobody else is involved.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
I'm
I
digging
look
the
forward
post.
to it. I hear nothing but good things about you from Tarani, so.
Well, thank you. I love Tarani. Tarani's, I try to bribe
so
him.
he's enjoying this right now. Yeah, no, he's listening, so he's enjoying this right now.
Well, his real fantasy is for us all to have a threesome, but now, I don't know how that.
Okay, Tarani, that was not me. That was her. She's being sexual, not me. Not me.
Now, before you would come on, Rebekah and I have been talking about stage versus acting for film, and you've done several off-Broadway plays as well. What are your thoughts on the differences between working on stage as opposed to working on film, and how do the two cross over and help you when you do either?
Well, a great question. I started in theater. I mean, my background is all theater acting, but I also used to direct theater in college. And I think how it affects me in terms of acting, I think it's probably still why, as an actor, I prefer to play character roles. I like to kind of physicalize, get into the parts I'm playing physically. Probably that comes from, in theater, it's so much about your costume and your physicality, and everything is obviously bigger than life, which you have to take down in film. But and I just think it helps you really, I think training sometimes in theater is so much more intense. You really learn how to break down a script. And, yeah, I mean, it's just, I think personally for me, all the best actors, and, I'm still actually really dealing with the loss of Philip Seymour Hoffman because I worked with him a few times.
Thank you. Yeah. He was a stage actor, too.
Yeah, and he was really big in the theater, and that was where, before I ever did any film, I only started to do film, I think, when I was I'd been doing theater for 10 years. And I started young. I started as, a teenager, and he was such an inspiration, and I just want to say again that I would like everyone in the world to just say a, prayer for him or whatever. It's for his family.
We have them.
What can you tell us about your next project? And, of course, this is what's listed on DMB. I hope I'm pronouncing it correct. Derbau? What can you tell us about that?
Sure. I can tell you that it's a German film, and it's directed by an Oscar-winning director. He won an Oscar 4 years ago for the short film. His name is Jochen Alexander Freidank, and it's a Kafka adaptation of one of his short stories. I play the lead female in it, and it's I'm not gonna lie, I don't know when it's premiering, but it will come out theatrically in Germany, and then probably do the rounds festival-wise, and it'll be subtitled. Sorry, but it was amazing working with him. It's just a really beautifully shot film. It's really weird. It's about a man who's losing his mind, and in very Kafkaesque fashion, I would say, as everyone loses their mind in Kafka stories. And I play a mother in that. So
awesome.
That's exciting. That was a first, and I don't know. We'll see where that takes me. But
now, what?
Yeah.
Out of the three hats that out of the three of the many hats that you wear, what do you find to be the most challenging and rewarding between directing, producing, and acting?
I think, what's the most challenging for me with acting is actually auditioning. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I find auditioning still to be the scariest and the most stressful thing in my life. But once I'm cast in something or once I'm on set, I'm the kind of actor that, goes above and beyond, probably, they would have even expected maybe. I hope at least. Jeez, someone tell me if I'm wrong, please call me tonight. In terms of directing, of course, is much more challenging still because I don't know. I still haven't done it as much. I think the more you've done something, the easier it becomes. It should never be easy, like you're not challenging yourself and trying to do the best work, but I think you just know more the way it's supposed to go, And so directing is still new, and I still have to work a lot harder to do it, to make sure I'm prepared and have everything, It's like I'll sit up all night, like, making shot lists for the next day and making sure whereas, like, a director who's done it a million times will be like, oh, I got it. Like, just writes, like, some notes about his shot list or whatever, and he's pretty sure he's got it down in his head,
How about as a producer? What do you find the most challenging?
Yeah.
Sorry, like, one at a time. Sorry.
I don't love producing as much, but I do it. I do it because sometimes I have to do it because nobody else is going to do it for me. So I do it, but I don't love it at all.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
No, I was going to ask, like, what is it like for women in horror, like, or just women in general in Hollywood?
Well, Tarani will love Church and is going to, like, we love having this argument.
Sorry,
John. I find it incredibly depressing. I didn't even think that it was difficult for. I never really think about myself as a woman, or like not like I'm a woman. It's going to be more difficult or less difficult. I just think of myself as an artist, as somebody who wants to do work. And I went to directing school, went to NYU to grad directing program, and, took a leave of absence. So like, I want to still act and stuff. But I was like, I shouldn't have a problem directing. Like, I think I'm okay, and, I have great ideas. I want to do this really badly. And I found that in the time I've been trying to, it's really difficult to get people to support me or be behind me, people that I thought would, no question, want to support my directing, and yet they will support a guy, and these guys are guys who have exactly the same amount of credits as I do, or so first I was like, that's just my imagination, whatever, but then I've been reading a lot of articles recently in Variety, and coming out of Sundance this year, there are some really unfortunate numbers, and these are actual numbers, like, somebody else wrote this article. It's not me, but and actually my woman Desiree, she's a director who had a film there this year. She was like, it just doesn't seem to. I wish I could find this article right now. I should have looked it up before we got on the phone so I could give you the numbers.
Our next guest is with us, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
This is the Dead Man. Who has joined us?
This would be Bj Colangelo.
BJ.
Hi.
Oh, hi, BJ.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi,
baby.
So right now we have BJ, we have Kristina, and of course we have Rebekah Herzberg on with the Dead Man on Horror Society Radio. Well, I mean, just in general, what kind of work do you guys do with the Women in Horror Monthly, along with what Rebekah does?
I would say, sorry, I don't want to talk all over you. I know for me personally, because I'm more known for journalism or blogging, I try to do my best to focus on not just female creators, but quality female creators. I've never been the kind of person that, I'm going to support this film just because it's made by a woman. I want to show people that, there's also a lot of quality coming out of the work of women that aren't getting
exactly, I hate to say this, but this is exactly the problem, because, I would have always thought that as well, but unfortunately women need the support of other women right now to even get their names out there.
We do. And honestly, if it weren't for Women in Horror Month, I would have not had the guts to try to even make my own film. But no, go ahead. Like BJ especially. Like I love your blog, Day of the Woman. Sorry. And I adore you. And it's, you know, we mentioned earlier that not a lot of people, they're like, oh, you're a horror blogger, and they'll throw that in your face. But it's like a lot of these horror bloggers, first and foremost, they also write for a lot of magazines and other websites.
Right. Definitely.
They're very intelligent women, and they have a message to get across. And it's, I can't believe people just.
I
Go ahead.
I'm
sorry.
Lucky. I'm sorry. I do find myself lucky that because my website is, you know, Day of the Woman, blog for the feminine side of fear, a lot of the requests that I get personally are almost always, this was directed by a woman, this was written by a woman. People are sending their independent films to me because a lot of times, you know, they're still, you know, really super low budget independent, so a lot of the bigger name sites aren't giving them the time of day. But I'm allowed to do that, and I do that year-round, which is amazing. And what's kind of sad is that these bigger sites, it's just the same, you know, oh, do you remember that American Psycho is directed by a woman? It's like, yes, you've been saying that for 5 years. Show me something new.
Yeah.
So I like to show
but it's
people
also, it's sad because, like, think about it, how many female directors can you think of right now, and how many female horror directors can you think of right now? Tell me the 5 same people or the 3 same people, if you can even think about 5 people, that everybody else says. And guess what? There are other women directors out there. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of them.
I'm going to have to skip in here for a second and say that's what is the beauty of Women in Horror Month. You know what? People can spit all over that and come up with whatever reasons, like, you know, whatever, but I think that Women in Horror Month has actually helped, you know, like a lot of these women that felt like they couldn't do it. I think it pushes them further and say, hey, there really isn't a lot of us out there. And so let's get out there and show them that we can also, we love fucking horror films, and we can do the same fucking thing that you can do. Pardon my language, but seriously.
No, I mean, I agree. You know, the sad thing is, and, you know, we had a small conversation on Facebook today between, you know, BJ and I were going back and forth on a little thing, and you know, and my thing about it is until the mentality of male and female goes away, we're being counterproductive with one another. It shouldn't matter if it's a male director. It shouldn't matter if it's a female director. It doesn't matter if it's a male killer, female killer, transgender killer. A good horror movie is a good horror movie. There are no gay horror movies. There are no straight horror movies. It's just horror. We are a community and a family, and that's what we have to get past. And, I agree.
You know what? I
there's
think
arguments on both ends.
You're looking at the actual way it should be and the way it hopefully will be someday, right? So that's like the goal. That's the way it should be. But how do we get there? Until that happens, we are definitely not there at all. Like, Hollywood is not there by any means. Like, I live here. I am like, this place is the most, like, difficult for a woman. And people can say, oh, it's great, whatever. Women can fuck their way to the top. Well, some of us don't. And so, therefore, we have it pretty fucking hard, okay? And
honestly, I don't think it'll get there because a lot of these men are stuck on, oh, well, women have tits and blah, 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 blah. Even less attractive females are still like, oh, well, they think they're so hot because they have tits. And it's...
Well, and a lot of women do use those, things to their advantage, and God bless them. Like, I don't blame them. Some of us are not like that, though, and with a personality like mine, where you do think that everything should be fair, and that, I should be the same as a guy.
Right.
I don't
think that anyone who says, okay, a lot of people say that all of us who are with or on the board with Women in Horror Month, people say we use Women in Horror Month to get ahead. Those people are ignorant to the subject and the organization. I'm sorry, they are.
That's ridiculous.
They take their insecurities. They take their insecurities and frustrations out on those who are more active. That's what I think.
Should we just erase Black History Month and forget about all the different cultures and diversity that makes up? No, actually, women have been suppressed in this country, and African Americans have, and there's a reason why you help promote certain things. Now, I do not think that needs to continue. Once we've achieved what you were just saying, to get everybody that we just love horror movies, and it doesn't matter, made by woman, man, anybody. That is the point we're trying to get to, but until we get there, we do actually need some help. I'm the first person to say I need help. I need help to get a feature horror film made.
Well,
who wants
you
to
know
help?
what upsets me most is a lot of people, they keep downing Women Horror Month, and they think, oh, okay, it's just a ploy to, promote yourselves, but in one way it's done nothing but helped me and several others, and it's just I would like other females, let's get other females out there, and so
I'm sorry, we have about a minute left until I have to close the interview. If there's a central theme that you guys would like to hammer home, what would it be?
Let's leave it on our threesome, Rebekah. Let's go back to our the cliche
is that
sexual.
Klebe or BJ?
That's Klebe, but sorry, I don't want to take up.
Oh yeah.
You guys go.
Klebe, I will totally have a threesome with you, just so you know.
Oh, and then we'll make a movie about it. But
I tell you what, because we came up against Because we came up against the end, if the three of you would like to come on again, I would love to do a round robin about this topic.
Oh, absolutely.
I would absolutely love to have the three of you back on and be able to dedicate a full show just to what we are talking about right here, because I believe in the same thing that you do. Like I said, race, religion.
BJ and Kristina?
Yes. Anyone that wanted to come on and talk about it, I would love to have, because I can have up to 5 of you on at a time. If you wanted to come on and have a roundtable discussion about it, I would more than welcome you guys coming on and doing so, because I believe in what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I would love that too. And I'll look up that article actually, so I'll have some numbers. Because
definitely. What I will do then is I'll send Rebekah the info, and then we'll hook something up from there. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah, sounds fantastic.
That works for me. It's my birthday, so I'm kind of buzzed right now. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Well, you have a happy birthday. Thank you all for being on. I appreciate it, and I will talk to all of you soon.
Okay.
All right, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Once again this evening, we had on the Women in Horror Ambassador, Rebekah Herzberg. We had the Soska Twins. We had Katt Shea. We had Kristina Klebe. And we had Bj Colangelo. Thank you to Metal Blade for everything that they gave us tonight with Behemoth, and Scream Factory for Witchboard. And we will talk to you guys next week in our Metal Blade Spotlight, Down Amongst the Dead Men, off the self-titled album, and the song is Adolescence of Time. Until next week, rest in peace.